Welcome back to the European LCS, where the first place SK Gaming are about to go up against Gambit, whose hopes could climb as high as 3rd place. By the end of the day, they still have a shot at that one. Before we look at the lineups, though, we gotta give an update on today's tiebreaker possibilities. We have a 50-50 chance of either 1 or 2 tiebreakers at the end of the day, which could be between H2K and Gambit, Gambit and the Unicorns of Love, Elements and Roccat, or MYM and Giants. So get comfy, because those games will be played immediately following today's 5th match. But now we're going to look at SK versus Gambit, starting at the lineup for Gambit, who are on the blue side for this one with Cabochard, Diamond, Betsy, Pinoy, Edward, and Leviathan. Now, if they win versus SK, and if H2K lose, later Gambit will tie for 3rd place and will play a tiebreaker for that one. Yet, that's
I'm glad you have to keep track of that.
Same. I mean, it wouldn't be Europe without a confusing set of tiebreakers, would
No.
it?
It's actually pretty clear-cut today. But anyway, Gambit yesterday beating the Unicorns of Love convincingly. The Unicorns of Love not really showing up in this one. But Gambit seem to have found their footing again after IEM just in time for the playoffs and maybe even a 3rd place spot, which in the beginning of the season seemed super unlikely.
Yes, it really did. The first couple of weeks, nobody would have expected Gambit to be in the running for a 3rd place finish. But something that was great yesterday, we looked at that graph of how Gambit started really low down in the rankings. They shot up over a 4-week period, and now they've been dancing up and down in the upper echelons of the top of the table. For a team like Gambit, I'm going to quote Leviathan again. From weeks ago, he said, it's a process. Every time you see Gambit play, you do feel like they're growing. You do feel like they're making less mistakes in one area, discovering new areas to play, then making a few mistakes in that area, and then going back to a refined version. So it's still finding the mixture and the balance to have that winning formula.
Yeah, it's not easy for them, but the changes that they have made in Cabochard and Pinoy have definitely shown up as well. Pinoy having some good games and Cabochard as well. In this one, though, they're up against SK Gaming, and they are the #1 seed. Let's look at their lineup. Freddy122, Svenskar, Fox, Forgiven, Inrated, and Inner Flame. They have no more pressure. They have locked in that 1st spot, and I want to have a little bit of a continuation of the discussion that we had earlier in the day when we had Daylor and Nif here about their 1st place and them looking solid. They are a 1st place team, and that is very much reflected in the standings and their record, but not all the time on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one with SK. They've been so far ahead in so many games in the start of the season, and we talked about how Gambit, you know, they've been up and down. SK have just been up. They've only been at the top. Couple of little changes in the last couple of weeks, though. Interesting when you look at how far ahead they are, what parts into the game. At the start of the split, they were dominating everybody before 20 minutes. They were about 3,000 gold in the lead. Look at yesterday's game against MYM. They were only around 300 or so gold. It's, you know, about a 10th of the lead that we've seen out of them. It was one game. We're still expecting a lot from SK. Can they maintain their trend?
Yeah, I think it's going to be much like Fnatic that had already locked in their buy spot. SK Gaming is going to want to get out the more practice they can, but maybe without showing anything special, they're going to keep that for playoffs.
Yeah, that's actually what Enrated said after the victory yesterday, that you can't learn too much from these last matches because it's more about those quarterfinals and best of 5s. And he was saying he's set his sights on those BO5s once we know the seeds are locked in, and that's where SK is going to get all of their research and all their studies into how to prepare for their semi-final.
Yep, still one best of 1 to go, though, for him. And as we hand it back over to the casters, we'll hear from Gambit's longtime support, Edward, on what it's like to play against one of the league's most consistently aggressive teams.
I don't think SK do the same thing all the time. They change a bit of the game all the time, but you can't really see that. It's just always hard to play against them because they play super aggressive in all lanes. They pressure you everywhere, and the teams who don't know how to handle the pressure pretty much falls apart. So you just need to deal with the pressure. And also I just want to play against Forgiven one more time and just beat his ass.
Well, I hear that, Eddie. He wants one more chance to beat.
Got to deal with the pressure, that's all. I mean, just you beat SK.
Exactly. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do, according to Eddie. And also, he wants to play against Forgiven. Can't really blame him.
No, it's always fun.
It's always fun. And then if you get a kill in that lane, we have seen what happens to SK Gaming if they don't win that laning phase.
Exactly.
I wonder if Gambit is going to go all in on that early game, or if they're going to run a more like hard engaged focus and try and punish SK for being called out.
Fortunately, Deficio, we're about to find out. We're in a pick some fans already.
Hopefully.
See what they decide to start this one off with.
Cabochard joined the dark side yesterday and started playing Maokai top lane. Before that, it was all about the carries for him in this split here, but now he's even found his way onto the tanks. Obviously, picked up a pretty good win. He had a fantastic performance. I mean, that guy can just carry on whatever he's playing, so I guess it doesn't even matter. Teemo time, I guess, for Capo Shot.
Well, we'll have to see about that one.
It is good in a one-on-one.
I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole, Deficio.
That's true. It's undefeated in the Challenger Series as well.
This is true.
Do you want more facts?
I don't want to know about Teemo anymore. Let's change the subject. LeBlanc's banned away. Of course, I could save that last one for Graves. I want to see what they do. Teams have had some success. Some teams have had some success banning out Forgiven. Sejuani comes in, taken away from Diamond, although it's fairly popular in general these days.
Yeah, and of course the LeBlanc ban because Zed is already being banned away, and I guess Gambit were not planning on first picking it, and then you know SK Gaming is going to take it in the first rotation. So Graves is still open. Pinoy loves to play Graves. However, do you want to first pick it? That's the question.
That is the question. Italy's now banned.
In this situation, I mean, Maokai is open, but that's not that of a contested pick from SK Gaming. Yes, okay, Freddy plays it, but you don't necessarily have to instant lock that Maokai. And we have the two main assassin picks in the mid lane being banned away as well. So I guess
they're going to do it.
It does mean the Graves is going to be the first pick for Gambit here. Take it away from Forgiven. And this falls into the whole...
Pinoy thinks something's pretty funny about that.
Pinoy is always funny to watch in Champ Select.
This is true.
Either he's lying down almost falling asleep, or he's sitting and laughing like a crazy man. But Eddie just said, to beat SK Gaming, you just gotta avoid all that pressure. Getting Graves is a good way of doing it, or at least a good start. Because it should mean you're winning that dual lane, 2v2.
Does tell that they are going to want to take the 2v2 especially. Let's see if that proves true. As they consider the Maokai. Should be a no-brainer here. Freddy will like.
Yeah, of course. And we've seen Enrated, you know, swap away from Lulu. Even though it's open, he doesn't want to take it. He wants to play other champions. His Nami's been very good. So that's very good bubbles on this Nami. His tidal waves are on point. So I think this is quickly turning into his best support pick. And that also gives you a very good laning phase. So it's not like SK Gaming will be automatically forced to lane swap. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for it against this Graves Thresh setup from Gambit.
So Gambit, yeah, you mentioned the Thresh. He's also going to get Diana locked in for him. To prompt SK. Taking their time now. After the bans went a little bit quick, they're going to think about what they do here. Fair amount of junglers have been taken off the board, but there's so many available ones.
And Svensson is the only one who hasn't joined the tanks yet. He's only still playing Rek'Sai, Nidalee, Lee Sin in this situation here. Nidalee and Rek'Sai obviously being banned away. He's still not jumping on the tanks for him. He wants these early junglers here where he can make some plays, invade into the enemy jungle. If you find a big tank as a Lee Sin, you win that one-on-one. And as long as you're pushing up the lanes at the same time, you will get your teammate to come and help you, and you take full control. Okay, so this lane is going to be the Graves.
True, and this has been what Forgiven has gone to when he's not been able to get his hands on either Graves or Lucian. Albeit to not as much success as those two, but in the lane, you're right. If they take the 2v2, Caitlyn, in theory, should win this.
The problem with Caitlyn for SK Gaming is they don't only make plays early game, they also use the mid game a lot to do this 1-3-1 split push, and you can't do that on the Caitlyn because she's too weak in the mid game unless she snowballs completely from getting early towers, which of course is the goal here. But Nami Caitlyn is one of the most disgusting lanes to play against. It is so annoying, and before you go back to base, before you get a BF Sword or Graves, you won't be able to do a whole lot in that lane. You won't really be able to trade too effectively. So this is a very tough lane now for Gambit, and it should mean SK Gaming can get the dual lane they want and start pushing in these towers. And that's the Diana top lane.
Yes, it is. We spoke too soon about Betsy, so we've got an Ahri lock-in, a Vi for Diamond. And yeah, we see Diana top this time around.
I like Diana top lane, normally, but it's very easy to gank her in that top lane. It's a longer lane than the mid lane. You're against the Maokai who can snare you super easy, slow you, and there's a Lee Sin on the other side. This is a bit of a risky one for Gambit, but in case there's a lane swap, she's pretty good at clearing the jungle. So 2v2 jungle, and that's what she's looking to do early on before you see how the waves are going, and if you can go down and get some farm. If you get her to level 3 as well, she can do fairly well defending herself on the tower. So there are ways to play around that in these swaps, and we're gonna see another Katarina.
You do
played it yesterday.
Another Katarina. That's locked in for him. This just got interesting.
Let's see, Gambit has Flay to stop her ulti, they have the hook from Eddie, they got Charm, they have Vi's ulti, Vi's knockback. They have Diana's E as well. There's a lot of ways of stopping Katarina's ulti, but the problem is if you gotta save those abilities just for the Katarina to jump in, then the rest of SK Gaming is gonna do enough work on you that you might still lose that fight. And Nukedog yesterday really showed it. Once you get towards the late game points, you can win team fights on your own as long as you don't get locked down. Well, we're gonna have another one of these games where it's gonna be about looking for that Katarina. When is she jumping in, and does Gambit have any CC ready to stop her ulti and just lock her down instantly?
Right, and you know, for SK, I feel like this is definitely the time to experiment. They're not fighting for anything. They've locked in that.
Guaranteed #1.
They've locked in that spot as the coaches just pound a walk off the stage. And yeah, this is definitely the time to try and practice something maybe you're not as comfortable on, especially when you see, they got the perfect opportunity to try out what can Forgiven do when he's banned out again here in Europe. So now it's time for you guys to let us know if you think Gambit can pick up a key win here in this situation against the #1 seed by tweeting us at LL Esports with the hashtag GMB win or SK win. We're about to load up onto the Rift for this matchup. Gambit trying to jockey for that pole position, but SK is just playing for fun, but the crowd, they're playing for hype as we get ready to go. A little shout out to LCS Ties there on the side. And here we go. We're on to the Rift.
Oh yeah, and yeah, different SK Gaming now, more teamfight focused than we've ever seen them in the pick and ban phase. This does not make a very good 1-3-1 for them here with this setup they're running. So it's gonna be about early advantage through your strong Caitlyn Nami lane, get down 1 or 2 towers, and then look for teamfights. Have to see if SK can set up properly in terms of the warding. They will have Sidestone on Lee Sin, they will have Sidestone on Nami, of course. There should be a lot of wards for them to set up these fights around objectives. And that's different from the standard SK.
Oh, Raiden's just going to run right into the bush. Oh, he eats a charm. Away. He's going to have to flash into Dragon Pit. That's not a good start.
Diamond might come in. No flash now.
Not going to charge it up just yet.
Here's W.
Nah, he backs away. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have
it.
Oh, he should have saved.
Oh, it's pretty good for the early start, though.
It's true.
For him. And Reddit gets out alive, despite face checking. And yeah, we see the style of Pinoy. Oh, you're catching me? Nope. I'm just going to turn around and start shooting you in the face. 2v2 lane setup for SK Gaming at least. Gambit here. They can still take the lane. It's just very tough early on before you go back the first time. And you need, like if you hit every single CS, you need 55 to get a BF sword on your first back. That's going to be the goal for Pinoy in this lane. Because once he gets the BF sword, then he can start trading well against the Caitlyn, because that's where his abilities really start kicking in.
They're definitely going to keep their eye on that one. Freddy throws down a few saplings over at the Razor Beaks, is looking to help out Svenskeren on the red. As it starts, able to clear away the 3 of them just like that. No problem whatsoever. Double jungle happening. Although, for Gambit, it's a little bit different. And Rated actually is making Pinoy and Edward have to back off a little bit here. The play's coming in.
Taking so much damage here. He's going to have to blow 1 or 2 potions as well. I personally would have gone for the lane swap, also because I'm afraid of this Diana on her own. She's going to do fine against Maokai one-on-one. The problem is that Svensson can start ganking that top lane, and it's very tough for Diana to do anything when she gets locked down. She's immobile. No way of really disengaging, and that's going to be a tricky one for Cabochard now. We know Gambit loves to feed him. They love to gank for him. We also know that SK can try and counter that. And this bottom lane, obviously, I mean, you see the way it's going already. And Reddit made it even worse by going in and harassing onto Gambit.
Talk about an annoying lane matchup.
Yeah, this, I mean...
Did it without a flash.
Caitlyn Nami early on is not fun.
Definitely not. Pinoy and Edward are definitely having a rough go of things, just trying to scavenge farm where they can, being denied very heavily here. Let's see how much investing in Cabochard early is worth it.
So I'm a little bit surprised Svensson started on red side. Started with the red buff first, then he went blue buff. I would expect him to do the other way around, unless he's just looking to do it clear and go back to base before he ganks. He can obviously get now some control in the river here for his bottom. Okay, so that makes sense as well. So what he's doing is, instead of getting an early gank on the top lane, then he's trying to get control on the bottom side for them to push up, and now he's going to go for a gank because Betsy already used a lot of his mana.
Yep, there's the ignite.
Oh,
there's the damage goes in for first blood. And flashes back out.
And straight down to get control on the river as well for Svensson. So that's what he's doing here. He's trying to get some wards down, some vision for, not wards, but just some vision for SK so they can keep pushing the bottom lane. allowing Diana to farm, but this is a good enough trade because you don't want that Caitlyn to be ganked early. Just let her control the wave and the lane. So that's all he's doing here. I take it back. Svensson is outsmarting us.
For the moment, it seems that is the case now. Eddie, very, very low. The Peacemaker comes in. Again, Pinoy just, he cannot get any farm without having to pay heftily for it. Edward is going to have to back away now. Pinoy sitting on half his health also. Still having a real hard time trying to get the farm. Has to dash and avoid the bubble from N-rated. Tower clearing away. Some minions health. Pinoy will grab a little bit back, but Forgiven is just not giving him a second's pause.
No, and why would he? I mean, you can keep trading. You got the sustain advantage through the army. And ready to land some good bubbles. And the problem now is if you're forced to go back early as Graves, you won't get that BF sword, which you need to start trading with the Caitlyn. He's going to be forced to go second Dorn's Blade.
At this rate.
Really gonna delay it a lot for Pinoy. And there's obviously no reason for SK to go back with their dual lane because they just keep pushing it in over and over. They're full HP.
Now, you could argue in theory that this opens up an opportunity for Diamond, but he's not going to be really having
he's here for the counter game.
Massive ganks until 6, but he's going to try to go up top all the same if he needs to. He looks like might have his eyes on Svensson, but he does take the Sonic Wave. They know he's there. He's not going to use it.
Now, Coppershot is getting to play this one-on-one, which is very good for him because the focus was on the bottom side early from Svensson. And of course, the mid lane with that one kill onto Betsy.
But what are they getting out of this? That's the thing.
Well, you're getting free farm on your Diana, that's good. But problem is, your bottom lane is getting spanked at the moment.
Yeah, twice the amount of farm on Forgiven as there is on Pinoy. Not a lot they can do about that. Let's see if Diamond can maybe turn the tables. He's looking at mid right now, but he's spotted out after he clears that pink. Fox, Betsy both a little bit low, and there's the Shanpo away. And Diamond, caught by the Sonic Wave. Resonating Strike does a little bit more damage to him afterwards, and Fox still pushing forward. SK so far showing the power that they have in this early game. Edward taking a lot of damage, just trying to herd the minions into a place where Pinoy can get some farm.
Yeah, trying to just freeze them before they got into tower. Pinoy comes back now, gets some of the farm, but he was forced into that double Dorn setup and now a longsword, so he might just try and go for Brutalizer to get some power in the early game. Also because of the back timings, the gold he has, and it often depends with these builds here. If you're forced back early, if you're falling behind, you can go Brutalizer. Otherwise, you always want to aim for that BF sword on the first back. Very often just depends on the timings, but looking good so far from SK. We saw Gambit invest a lot of wards on the top side, really trying to set up Copper Shot. But it looks like SK are fine, saying we don't really care about your free farming. So instead of them going for those easy ganks, they just say we just control the side of the map where we're strongest. And it is paying off because Forgiven is destroying his lane. They get first dragon as well now.
Yeah, not having any problems for them. SK. Eddie's just gonna fling the hook in, but it's a little too late. Couldn't have done too much damage anyways. SK do secure dragon number 1 just under 7 minutes into the game.
Classic for them. They're still the team who gets the fastest first dragon in the entire EU LCS. I believe the average is like 9 minutes. This one they got in 7. So even faster for SK than normal. Back in his top lane. Coppershot doing a great job.
Yeah. Despite the vents from Maelstrom on, he does a lot of damage to Freddy. Freddy hasn't had any trouble farming though. That's the difference between the way these lanes are rolling out right now.
I guess we were a little bit too early with the great job. He's doing his job.
Yeah, he's doing what Diana needs to do. That is definitely what we can say about him right now. But the thing is that worth the cost of your bot lane falling further and further behind?
It's not.
SK are perfectly happy with that trade, it seems.
They are.
Oh, flash hook, not going to connect. Bubbles, though, that's going to go up. Edward taking a lot of damage. The Peacemaker as well. Ignite is on. Pinoy spends his ultimate before Forgiven and Enrated back. Still not looking good for this Gambit bot lane, though.
Pinoy got level 6 before Forgiven, though, because Eddie has gone back to base a few times already, so Pinoy has gotten some farm on his own, and that's why they looked for that trade. Flashed away, though, by Forgiven. Pinoy back to base again. Now he has a pickaxe. So he has some good combat stats here early. Just still delaying that BF sword a lot. I mean, he's now currently sitting only on 30 gold.
Yeah, he's about 400 gold behind Forgiven right now, and it's not even 10 minutes in. It's getting a little bit rough for him. Diamond's sitting on a ward as he keeps his attention focused top-wise. Skaren grabs himself a blue. Let's see where he goes next. Fox now looked at a roam as well. Let's see where he goes.
Well, they can go down to the bottom lane, push it in, and go for a dive.
Looks like that's what they're going to do.
They're going for it now. Yeah, they got the ping one in the river as well, so they're pushing in the wave.
Spotted.
Eddie has no flash, remember. If a bubble lands when raided.
It does. They go for Edward. That's what it looks like. He's just going to be all alone as Pinoy just can't really help him out. Fox does take a lot of turret shots, though. They still clean up a fairly hefty investment. Nothing else to capitalize on there as Fox is going to back to base. Forgiven still zoning Pinoy off.
Yeah, and with that big wave coming in now, they can zone away Pinoy if they stay on this bottom side and deny him all this farm. As well, might even be able to get the tower on the bottom lane. Meanwhile, though, Gambit is trying to make a play on the other side of the map. Freddy's very low here. Cabochard connected Q.
Crescent he goes in for
Diamond is here, Betsy is here.
Damage, yep, there. They're going to be able to take him down. Assault and Battery. He's not going anywhere as Betsy dashes away. Svenskeren and Pinoy fighting it out, but Svenskeren, he could go down here, give up the double buffs. No, thank you. He's going to burn his flash to not give Pinoy any more gold back in his pocket. This tower should be SK Gaming's. Meanwhile, up in the top, it should be Gambit's in just a bit.
They're not pushing it now in the top lane.
No, they're not.
So
Bubble's landing on Pinoy, though, on the bottom. Oh, they're looking to go in on this one. Play's not going to happen, though. Buckshot, it's Forgiven and underrated. The hook nearly connects, but Forgiven was a bit quicker with the net. And Freddy's right back to it. Yeah, I guess there wasn't enough minions there for really Gambit to push in the top, and they backed away.
Backed away from it. It was a good dive, and it's what you have to do is, if you're being pressured in one lane, be ready to make a play on the opposite side of the map once you get an opening. So they got that first kill onto Freddy. Bot lane tower, of course, is down now, and with Dragon being gone as well, SK Gaming can just recall. They got 1800 gold on Forgiven. Get a BF sword, swap to the top lane. Diana doesn't have the wave clear to stop a Caitlyn Nami from pushing down. And then you get 2 outer turrets fairly easily, while Freddy should be able to defend the bottom lane after. So that should be the tactic for SK Gaming now, after the first back here. And they're really looking to get this early gold lead. They always do. But just remember, they don't have the same 1-3-1 setup as normal. It's going to be more about the big team fight. Fights.
The way things are looking, we are definitely in for a number of them, I would say. Svenskeren, he's moving up top to try to help out Freddy. Fox and Diamond are there. Also, Diamond's getting chased out. There's the Shunpo. And Diamond takes a lot of damage after that as well. Fox and Sven have forced him away, but Cabochard wisely backs off as well. Now Betsy looking for the charm, lands it on Svenskeren, looking for Fox. Oh, hooked in. Betsy's going to get a pick quickly on to Svenskeren while Fox makes his escape. See what happens next. There we go. Cabochard coming in, Luna Rush, and Rated, and Freddy, and Forgiven are all there. Might have taken a little bit more than he bargained for. He's going to flash. Can't quite grab the lantern in time. Forgiven still on the chase. Ace in the hole. Eddie intercepts for Cabochard. Meanwhile, back in the mid, there is the death load as Betsy. Can he make an escape? It looks like just barely.
A lot of fights suddenly here. I love the little setup from Gambit with the pig ward here in the river. Got that pig onto Svenskeren, and Pinoy is all alone here on the bottom lane. Finally getting some farm, getting some time to push in on the tower. What SK Gaming wanted to do was just have Caitlyn Nami go top, have Freddy Recall go down to the bottom lane and catch the wave here. But because there were so many fights going on, that got completely delayed, allowing Pinoy now to get quite a lot of damage. Still only sitting on 700 gold, so he will have to go for those brutalizers.
Forgiven's net timings are just incredible. That's the second one he's been able to get just out of range of Eddie. Dragon's in half a minute. Svenskeren looking to clear out the Skull Crab while this is all happening. Pinoy had some free farm down bot, so he's trying to catch back up. But he's sitting on the pickaxe, the double Dorans, and 2 long swords at this point. He really needs to pick up a recipe item at this point to make up for the deficit that he had so early on.
So SK Gaming's going to give up this tower here just to go down and get the second dragon. They love to play around getting early 5th dragon for themselves. We're only 12 minutes in and it's spawning in a few seconds. Obviously, Freddy's already there. Despite not having a teleport, he was already gone to the bottom side. So they're fine giving up tower for dragon on their side. Gambit won't be able to contest it. Again, Pinoy is too far behind.
And they have no teleport on Cabochard either, so even if they wanted to, they'd have a number disadvantage. SK will go ahead and take that one for free. Dragon number 2 in their pockets now. A little bit of extra tower destruction should they want to start pushing those down pretty soon. They've got one to match Gambit's. See where they go next.
This really shows how SK Gaming looks at the map and the game and say, we value getting a second dragon over getting a top tower. Because they could have stayed top lane, keep pushing that lane in again and again. If Gambit had gone dragon, that tower would have gone down. They defended their own tier 1 tower as well at the same time. But because they got that early first dragon at 7 minutes, they want to play around the 5 dragons, so they value that above getting their tower. Let's see if Gambit can punish them for it, because now they're stuck in this mid lane. There's no lane really pushing for SK Gaming, so they have no pressure in the side lanes, allowing Gambit to now group in the mid lane. Didn't want to go for a dive. Katarina doesn't really have the proper wave play to stop this. Gambit at least gets some damage on the tower.
Yeah, it's already down to half, but the mini wave's starting to dwindle here. They got to be careful, respect the damage from Fox. They're going to back away from that one. Back in the bottom, the 280 carries are there. Respectful distance apart. Pinoy's getting some free farm now, though, and it's important for him.
This really is completely set up by the fact that SK Gaming wanted their dragon so badly. Because once you don't have that side lane pressure, and you have a Katarina sitting mid lane, she's not going to defend the tower on her own, at least not properly. So that allowed Gambit to push it up, like they did before. Kabajak could go top lane, catch the wave again. He has a bit of a CS lead for himself on this Diana. It's gone for Morel Nomicon, though. We talked about this before. It's not very optimal for the big fights where you need Abyssal Scepter into Hourglass very early on.
We might have one of those
so
big
you can
fights.
dive in. Like, he's very squishy now. If he goes in, if he follows Diamond in, SK Gaming can take him down. But Gambit might be looking for some prolonged team fights instead, where the cooldown reduction can pay off. If it's just a quick bursty one, which is what you expect when there's a Vi and an Ahri, like that's all in. Vi ulti charm, Diana jumps in and you blow up a target. Then you don't need cooldown reduction at all. Then you just need flat AP and some sort of defensive stats so you don't die when you jump in. But Betsy did the same on Gambit's side. Clearly they do think it's the best on Diana.
Yeah. Gambit's Gambit. We'll see if it pays off. Pinoy now pushing down the bottom side. Given's not quite there yet. It's going to be hard for them to get some serious tower damage, though, should he just show face, able to clear out the wave. Relatively easy, but Pinoy, importantly, is really getting this farm back that he's needed to.
Yeah, that's the big one. He
needs to get relevant for this mid-game to be able to take these fights that Gambit desperately need to stop giving up these dragons.
He's getting the farm, and he got that global gold from the top tower that SK Gaming gave up. So he's getting gold from multiple sources now. Obviously, he has that brutalizer we mentioned, simply because he was forced back to base so many times. But he's also stopped Forgiven from pushing towers on Caitlyn, which is what you want to do in the early game. Because once you hit that mid-game point, you are going to be a lot weaker than a Graves. And that's going to hurt SK Gaming in the big fights. If you look at Gambit's side, there's a lot of mid-game power from them. A lot of ways of forcing team fights as well, where Forgiven just want to farm. Nothing else. You want to farm and push towers. And that advantage has now been basically removed. Gambit is back in the mid lane because the two side lanes are once again being pushed up towards SK Gaming. So they can group in. Pinoy might look for a fight here.
I think maybe not after the ace in the hole. Oh, wait a minute.
Forgiven is out of mana.
Yeah, Forgiven is. He's going to dash forward. Pinoy, can he really do this? He's got the collateral damage on. Heal is popped by Forgiven immediately. Pinoy is going to back away. He's zoned out the net to actually get the chase down. And he's got one more super effective shot. But yeah, Diamond is coming in. I don't think Forgiven realizes. Now he's got to know, uh-oh, this could be some trouble. If he can get out of this one, he really is God-given. Let's see what happens. He's going for the execute if he can, but he won't get it.
He's buying time.
And he's going to get taken down, but he does buy the time.
Mid lane. They got the tower mid lane.
Taken.
But they get a bot lane, so they traded for that one. Top lane going down as well. So SK Gaming here, simply looking at the map saying, oh, you invested 3 guys on the bottom side. Well, we got 2 lanes we can push in then. Forgiven buying time. 2 out of turrets now. Suddenly a good trade from SK, unless this bottom lane tower will be defended by Kabachar. Mid lane tower might go down though, so the teams that are trading towers here, left and right.
2 towers and a kill onto Forgiven. I feel like that Assault and Battery really wasn't necessary though, because the tower beat was still on Forgiven, and it would have gone over to Pinoy.
It's true, I think they were just tired of keep chasing him.
Yeah. It's not about the kill, it's about sending a message to Vicio.
Shut him down. So yeah, all outer turrets gone suddenly, and if you look at the map beforehand, Gambit were in a situation where they were slowly pushing in that mid tower already. So they would have gotten that tower no matter what. And that's where SK Gaming suddenly get out honestly ahead, just by getting these 2 towers where they were pushed back beforehand, but because the 3 guys went bottom lane and SK Gaming then gets 2 free towers, despite giving over a kill as well, they weren't in a position to get those towers. If you looked at the game before the trade happened. So Still not the end of the world for either team. Just a lot of outros. The map is completely open now. We know next Dragon is going to be the target for SK. Eddie.
Eddie's the target for SK right now. They got the bubble up on him, and there's nothing he can do. He does try to flay back, but Forgiven picks him up. The rest of Gambit a little slow to react there. And now Pinoy's moving down to try and contest this. He's pinged out immediately. It's still 10 seconds before the next Dragon comes up, but it is set up for SK Gaming to try and force it. There is a teleport available for Freddy. 3 of them inside the Scuttle Shrine, but Gambit aren't going to give this one away.
Only 4 guys though, Gambit. They need to be careful. If Freddy TP's in behind them, SK Gaming is in a 5 versus 4.
There's the teleport.
It's going to be a safe one though.
Yeah, it looks like it. Unless Diamond can do something absolutely crazy, I don't think he's going to try. This should go over to SK Gaming. It's taken down. Number 3 for them. Not yet 20 minutes into the game.
That was Gambit though, making the best out of a bad situation. By showing themselves, they forced the teleport from Freddy. So at least they got that one down, so they have a TP advantage now, which means Capistrike can start split pushing. You saw as soon as the TP, they just backed away. They didn't even want to fight. They just want to say, okay, we want to force you to use your teleport, so it's on cooldown, and then we just give you the Dragon after. So that's making the best out of a bad spot.
This is textbook Gambit too. They're not going to try and take a really risky Dragon, especially, it's still fairly early into the game at 20 minutes. And when they can get something else out of it, trying to split push with Capistrike, you mentioned, yes, they have the teleport advantage. They can force SK to react like they are. Svenskar and Freddy both up top. Creates a numbers advantage elsewhere if Gambit want to skirmish.
Yes, indeed, Pyra, and that's been the name of the game this season here. Always playing around where you have the pressure and when you can get that numbers advantage. So TP obviously is going to be a big deal now for Gambit if they can use it. Because they got enough tools to start fights. If they go like push up mid lane, push up bottom lane, and walk in the jungle and look for a fight against SK, you can TP down, and then you make it a 5 versus 4 from Gambit's side. And it's still very even in gold. Pinoy is finally caught up a little bit in terms of items. Just a little bit. He's still behind him with the Infinity Edge, not completed for him. But he's gotten a lot of farm in this bottom lane. He's still sitting there. Can he complete Infinity Edge now? Yes, he can.
Sonic Wave onto Eddie, and Resonating Strike. Svenskar goes in, walks a little far into a trap, and he gets caught on the line trying to get away, and he might just be able to do it after the fact, but no! Capistrike picks him up, Fox comes in, tries to pull the Death Lotus, but he is going to actually be able to take down Diamond. It's Forgiven they give the kill over to. Gambit lose 2 just to take out Sven.
Yeah, SK Gaming, they saw Pinoy recall in the bottom lane, or at least knew he was down there, so that's why they started the fight. And they got the teleport blown from Gambit. They keep trading teleports, and of course 2 kills for SK. Pinoy wasn't there, he was running from base. Now he's gonna find in Raider, he's gonna blow him up.
Yep, no problem.
Ouch.
Like shooting fish in a barrel.
I love watching Graves. It's so fun. Just dashing to people, just destroy them.
It's not an escape tool.
Well, hello.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Where can I get one of those?
What is that?
That's a tiger onesie.
Is that a tiger?
That's what Monte Cristo was going to wear at IEM.
A good thing he didn't. After G Tigers lost to World Elite. That's not a tiger outfit. That's 2 coaches.
Leviathan doesn't look that happy.
He looks,
pensive.
Yes.
Concentrated.
He looks like a fine gentleman.
Indeed.
A bit like us in these outfits here. A lot of people saying I look like a school teacher. I'll take it as a compliment.
You're dropping knowledge bombs.
Not really, I'm just talking. I'm just talking nonsense.
Oh, is that what it is? Could have fooled me to fish out.
Testing your partner.
Ah. I hope I passed. Diamond clears away the scuttle. Gonna be a while before that Dragon comes into play again, though. Remember, SK, they lead the line on that one. 3-0. Gambit still looking to scrap. Let's see if they do. No, Diamond wants to make his way out. Takes an ace in the hole. And nearly walks into the bubble. SK still manning the battle stations here. As they try, Gambit tries to clear out some of the vision.
It's very early to start fighting around the Dragon vision here, but it's basically just mid lane focus. SK Gaming controls the top side with like 5 wards around the mid lane, then Gambit's now taking the bottom side. So clearly that opens up for Pinoy now to start pushing up here, but they gotta react to Freddy's build up a massive wave over here, and SK Gaming, they control the top side of the map with the wards, with the members. Will get some damage on that tower. They're gonna try and join him as well, see if they can kill it very fast. Nice charm though.
Yeah. Nearly grab a hook on him, but he gets out. And the rest of SK, yeah, they move up with this.
Just recalling now.
slow to react. Gambit, they're not going to be able to stop this, I don't think, unless they move all in right now. No, it's already gone. So SK, clean execution to take down the top inner turret.
Simply just Gambit being a little bit slow to react here. They saw the wave, but SK Gaming had already set up control on that side. So Gambit had to run the long way around the jungle up to that tower, and Pinoy obviously was still pushing the bottom lane.
Baron started now.
Baron yet. Haven't even put down a ping.
Yeah, this is a little bit risky. They're going to be able to back away from it, but Baron still hurts at this stage of the game quite a lot. Diamond comes in, throws a ward in the pit. They know now it's been stopped. And Gambit, they might have an opportunity to react here. Freddy's isolated. He is going to get knocked against the wall. And the assault and battery, they're going all for him. Hogwild, who gets the kill? It's going to be Pinoy. And they're going to be able to push some towers in the short spans of time. Forgiven's there, but what can he do against the rest of Gambit? There's a minute on this Dragon Deficio, and they are starting to clear out the middle.
Yeah, bottom lane was pushing before, but now pushing back for SK, so they won't be able to go there and take the wave, but at least get a bit of damage. Dragon, as you just said here, is spawning in 45. Use the time now, Gambit, to set up a few wards. Sadly, there's no charges on the side zone from Diamond at least. And Freddy does have teleport, so he can join in. But this next Dragon is important for Gambit. You cannot give 4 Dragons to 0 for SK Gaming.
Oh, Sven! Bit of an ill-advised resonating strike, but he gets out all right. 24 seconds on the Dragon. Diamond's low, though.
Look how low Diamond is. He's not really going to be able to do a whole lot. Whoa, that's ulti as well.
And there's a teleport coming in for Freddy right now. Yeah, Gambit are going to back away from this one. Ace in the hole now onto Cabo Shard. It will hit him, not to too much effect. And a hook lands on Freddy. Do they want to take it? No, they don't. Especially not after the charm won't go in. Pinoy, a couple of bouncing blades send him and Cabo Shard packing. SK look primed to maybe take another Dragon if Gambit don't want to fight this. I don't think they will.
No, Gambit suddenly has to give it up here. They were too low on the jungler here. Diamond trying to take that blue buff instead of going back first and then returning for the Dragon. And of course, Pinoy blowing his ulti.
It's number 4 for SK.
Flash. So yeah, 4 Dragons. We're only 25 minutes in. Next one spawning in 6 minutes. So SK Gaming, as we often see them do, play around these 5 early Dragons and force you into a bad team fight. That's the goal, obviously, for them now. But there's still that point where Caitlyn is not that strong. Even in 6 minutes time, the Graves should be able to out-damage the Caitlyn. So Gambit is in a spot where they can't fight. They got Hourglass on Cabo Shard, and they have to be ready to fight for that one.
Yeah, they can't afford to keep giving up those things. Now, they've still been keeping okay in the tower game. Problem is, once SK starts to get on a roll, it gets harder and harder to try and fight them out. Late game, Forgiven is going to be an absolute monster. Fox, if he can start rolling with those kills, he can be as well. But Gambit, they have a chance to fight. Let's see if they use it.
I make a very valid point there. SK Gaming's late game is pretty insane. The only champion not doing well late game is going to be the Lee Sin. The rest scales very well in. I love Nami in the late game as well, as one of the supports here. A lot of CC bringing. So Gambit really, it's going to be about the next Dragon, obviously. And I want to see them use Cabo Shard now to control one lane, fight for vision in this jungle here, and try and pressure these tier 2 towers in the top and in the bottom lane and in the mid lane. And you got to try and create a few picks around it. You don't want to just sit and wait for that Dragon to spawn and risk it being in a bad situation. So Cabo Shard is pushing out. This is great. Clear this wave, walk through the jungle, join Cabo Shard, get some pressure on that tower here.
But don't get collapsed on.
Well, the thing is, if SK Gaming want to fight, Gambit are strong enough to take that fight. They should look to teamfight as well now.
Yep, Charm's going to land on Freddy. There's the wave coming. Sven goes way too early before his team, and he burns all the way down. Betsy's going to get the kill credit for that one. Now Diamond, he's completely fine, and Gambit, they find the wind. In comes Betsy, in comes Diamond. Freddy, half his health, trying to twist it advance, and it's Fox coming into the middle of it all, but he's not going to do anything to Cabo Shard, trying to get the resets. He will get some kills. Oh my goodness, a triple kill coming in on that one. Fox cleaning up, and a double for Forgiven to complete the ace for SK Gaming.
It goes so fast once the Katarina jumps in. We mentioned how Gambit had so many ways of stopping that ulti, but clearly nothing was ready once Katarina jumped in. 5-0 now. There's a triple kill, double kill for Forgiven as well. That was a good start though by Gambit here. They got the first kill onto Svensson. They were looking to fight. just didn't have anything left to stop. I want to see that replay.
They funneled in the jungle. That's what allowed Fox to start moving forward. Forgiven, untouched by that one, or rather, looked untouched. Let's see how it happened.
Yeah, so again, Gambit are strong enough to fight here. Svenska goes in, nice knockback on him, and they get the kill in the end. So now let's look at the Katarina pick. Let's look at the CC from Gambit. Hook is down from Eddie now, Charm is down. I believe ulti gets one from Diamond as well. He's a knockback from Capo Shot. Flay just missed and didn't stop the ulti, and now nothing was left. Because there's no knockback. It's like 20 seconds cooldown for Diana, no charm. Flay missed from Eddie, and there was simply nothing left to stop Katarina once she jumped in.
Yeah. Forgiven had picked off that first kill, and it procced the passive to allow him to get his reset. Oh, that was just a very quick fight once it turned on. So SK Gaming,
and when you
it looked bad for them.
in there, and you got Luden's Echo, the procs as well, that's a lot of AoE damage coming in.
Oh yeah.
But we're getting to that point where Death Cap is going to start bringing more value. Should be coming in soon for him, but he also needs the Void Staff.
Scuttlecrab runs away from Eddie after being caught on a line. SK will take it. Still about 2 minutes till that next dragon, but Gambit can't give this one up. It would be number 5. Cabochard, big wave at his back as he tries to push in the top. But SK bringing reinforcements, and Freddy's totally fine to take this for the time being.
Yeah, he can hold it on the tower. Diana is not going to dive him and kill him. She's not a tank killer at all. She needs to get to the back line of SK Gaming. Most dragons in EU LCS.
By
no
9.
surprise,
I mean,
really.
we
no
saw it
surprise
from the very beginning of the split. They were the ones contesting and making this happen. Whoa! Oh, jeez! Edward is going to get a shutdown. However, Pinoy's going to fall down back to the grave. Betsy's going down as well. Forgiven had already been taken out of the fight, but Edward now and Rated getting the kill credit. A series of catches, even though they take down Forgiven. They lose 3, and Gambit Gaming, the hits keep coming.
These picks here from SK Gaming are doing really well. Now that we already hit 30 minutes, Katarina 6-0-6. Been part of nearly every kill, and we just see the damage. Whenever she jumps in,
have to respect it. That's without a death cap. And now they've got the Resonating Strike on. Cabochard's going to go in, trying to make the play. Diamond, he's moving them all in. Assault and Battery onto Freddy. And Fox still firing them down. Svenskeren picks up Cabochard. Diamond's going down as well. That is going to be an ace, thanks to Freddy and the rest of SK. They grab a turret and make their way back. 30 seconds on drag.
30 seconds here. If you need to go back now for SK Gaming. Let's see it again. So they create a pick here. Cabochard is running from the top lane down. So he's not here yet, but it's onto Forgiven first from Gambit. That's a nice setup. Problem is, again, a lot of CC being blown, nothing left for the Katarina at this point, and Gambit then comes in with the teleport, clean up a few kills. Cabochard not able to join.
Diamond just ran away from that one.
Dragon 5 seconds. 5 seconds more on Diamond before he's alive.
They're going to have to do this so quick if they want to rush it.
How they
Boy, Betsy.
You can't take it down.
They're not going to do that. Fox is here too. Oh, they got a charm on him though. Maybe they can blow him up. Yes, they can.
That
Shut
works.
down to Pinoy. Svenskeren going in now. Gets the kickback onto Pinoy himself. Svenskeren
TP
going low. There is a TP. Here comes Cabochard. They've saved Pinoy's life, but he can't get involved in the fight. Ace in the hole. Onto Eddie. Trying to do all he can as Freddy tanks the line in the front. Cabochard looking for an Diamond as well. They've corralled him in. Forgiven. They get... The wave comes out. Diamond... He might have to bail out of this one. They've caught Freddy on a line, but Diamond's going down. That's Forgiven picking up the kill. Dragons now into the fray. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but it's a tense moment. If SK Gaming pick this up, number 5, they do have the smite. Diamond is down, so they don't have this on Gambit side. Edward is so low here. This is going to be dangerous. If he goes in, he should be able to get it. The smite's down. No! It gets picked up by Betsy. They deny. Number 5. Cabochard makes it out as Betsy picks Svenskeren up. Gambit. Oh, they needed that.
That was massive. Oh, Pinoy. He's alive. It's fine. No smite from Gambit, and they got it. Yeah, Svenskeren used it just a little bit too early. So important you deny that dragon. From SK, it means it's not over yet now for Gambit. Let's see it. It's all the way down. Nobody's resetting it. Gambit keeps tanking it. Then you're going to see how they start focusing all their abilities on it. Where's the smite then from Sven?
This was a 3v4.
Jumps in. Smite down to 163, I believe. And then Gambit takes it with the Q from Betsy.
And that 6% stat boost is so important for them.
Oh,
they've been denied it all game.
Massive.
And now, considering how close the fights had been, they have a chance here.
They have a chance if they save some CC for the Katarina.
Yeah, they need to do that.
She's going towards the death cap now.
That charm catch in the beginning was absolutely massive for Gambit.
That was fantastic. That's what you need to get the picks here. But yeah, death cap coming in soon. And Baron is alive. Gambit feeling a bit more confident. We're gonna see another fight, guys.
Yeah, Freddy's tanking the line again. There's an ace in the hole coming in. Let's see if they have enough damage. Diamond, though, the wave is coming in, and he's just isolated from the rest of the team. Assault and battery on his fence, Karen. Can they still take the fight, though?
Oh,
he's gonna get down! Oh, Freddy in the front. Cabochard twisted advance in. Freddy's giving himself up for Pro. Cabochard picks up a double. It looked bad for a minute, but Gambit had turned the fight around.
Suddenly, yeah, Diamond took so much damage just standing 1v4, and they were just waiting and waiting for the Katarina. As soon as she jumped in, that was a beautiful jump. They saved the CC, they got the kill. Pushing up on this tower here. We're gonna get more fights, that's for sure. This game has been very entertaining.
Gambit, they take it, they go for more. Cabochard going in. They hadn't even polished off the tower yet. There it goes. Edward nearly eats it, but man, Gambit, they want even more, and Raiden, he's going down. Cabochard is going wild. Oh, man.
Now Leviathan is happy.
Yes, he is.
What a turnaround for Gambit.
Oh, yeah.
You get a dragon with no smite, you get the next team fight, another pick for Cabochard. So let's see it here. So Diamond is behind SK at the moment, and he's just tanking up all the damage. Nobody really wants to commit too much here because Gambit is waiting for Katarina, and SK obviously is looking for the opening to get the Katarina into the back line. As soon as she jumps in, there's the charm from Betsy. Stops it, blows her up, and then you win the fight.
You nailed it on the head, Deficio. Save the CC for the Katarina, and you can win the fight. 2 kills there. Going to Cabochard, they make the best of the situation, and they have started to close the gold gap a little bit. It's still a ways to go, but if they can keep taking fights like that, they can take this game.
More of Mortius for Forgiven. Normally not a big fan of that on AD carries. Still missing that last Whisper as well, but again, I guess not a whole lot of armor.
He's sparing Cabochard and Betsy here.
There's only the Hourglass to really stop him from hitting on the tanks. Oh, Diamond trying to bait out a little jump here with his Q. So this more will only pay off for Forgiven if he gets chunked and then stays fairly low for a while in the fight.
Charman's Scarin. Oh, the hook's not going to go. Real close, though. There's assassin potential on both sides of the board right now, Deficio. 36 minutes in. Game is getting tense.
I've said it before, every single team fight. Look at Katarina. Just look. That's going to win or lose the fight.
Those 2 deaths have mattered so much for Gambit right now.
Obviously, we can never forget about the likes of a Caitlyn in the late game either, but Forgiven has delayed his core build a bit with this Mortis. Obviously being jumped on by double AP every single time, so he wanted some defensive stat. Keep himself alive.
Diamond looking for a
no locket from SK Gaming. That's a bit strange, the double AP here.
Diamond, he's just in the danger zone all the time, but he's not fearing it at all. Freddy got caught on the line, and now he just wants to start the fight. Moves in on Diamond. Let's see what they can make of this. Freddy going a little bit low now, but what can they do? The box is down for Edward. Ace in the hole onto Diamond. Meanwhile, they're looking for Svenskar, and in comes Fox.
Oh,
they make the play. They got the hook on him, and he's gonna get Asania's on. Edward's going down. Fox not quite out of it just yet, but wait a minute. Svenskar picking up Betsy. Svenskar tried to make an even bigger play, but a double kill comes in for Forgiven as Diamond, Betsy, Edward all evaporate. SK blinking health bars, make it out of that one.
This time it wasn't about the Katarina. They got the hook to stop her, but she popped the Hourglass, and the rest of SK could then clean up here, win the fight. Dragon 1 minute. Baron is also alive. Let's see if Cabochard and Pinoy can stop this one. Everyone from SK is back on full HP. They're returning to it. It's going to be tough for Gambit to do anything.
20 seconds. 15 till a smite.
Yeah, giving it.
I don't think they can really do much about this one. You're right. They've got wave pressure to worry about. One in the top, a big one in the top, and a little one in the bottom. Let's see how that unfolded.
Yeah, so again, there's still 4 other guys on SK you got to deal with. Disengage onto Diamond and Betsy. So at the moment, no real damage being dealt from Gambit. It's all on to Freddy. Jump on Svenskar, and now this hook here catches Katarina. Problem is she has an Hourglass, and this buys enough time now for the rest of SK to just start cleaning up. Everyone ends up dying, and they couldn't get the pick they needed.
Tried to salvage the situation, but they just couldn't focus after the fact. So yeah, going to allow SK to pick up a Baron Diamond. He's not done yet with this one, though. Finds Svenskar, but there's some help and some backup. And he'll take a lantern out. Gambit's still here. They want to fight for this dragon. They can't afford to give it away, but Edward might have made that happen here. He gets caught. He gets blown up. Forgiven. Going Biggs Fox. Still staying alive. Finally picked up. Cabochard going wild in the backline. Svenskeren trying to bail out of the way. Freddy distracting 3 members of Gambit. Cabochard now getting shut down. In comes Diamond onto Forgiven, but he's got no backup. Down he goes. It's 3 members for the Katarina. And Gambit Gaming have to retreat. Pinoy, can he make his great escape though? Dashing forward. Misses on the buckshot, and a double kill over to Forgiven.
Yeah, we hit the point here where Forgiven suddenly is a big threat on this Katarina, on this Caitlyn. It's so used to saying Katarina now.
He's got an assassin.
So yes, they put so much focus on one target. That was a sick bubble from Enreda as well, saving him. And Gambit simply couldn't jump in together. We saw Cabochard first, the Diamond after, just jumping in one by one, meaning that Caitlyn stays alive.
They got the inhibitor.
I mean, you also gotta look at this Maokai. Full tank build. We're in the late game. We see how much damage Freddy can take. It is really tough for Gambit to win these fights.
Absolutely. It's gonna be even harder now. Baron buff, 5th dragon buff. To the one that they've picked up, they've been able to make some miracle fights happen, but all it takes is losing one more. Although, they did get a tower, thanks to some minions. Little help from Gambit there. So there's a silver lining to every situation, Officio.
Of course there is, Pyro. And if Gambit lose here, they sit still as number 4. They need Unicorns to lose against H2K, and then Gambit is locked as number 4 and will face the Unicorns of Love in the quarterfinals. Obviously the highest seed then for Gambit. If Gambit loses and Unicorns win, we're gonna have a tiebreaker at the end of the day between those 2 teams, fighting for that number 4 spot and who gets the higher seed in the quarterfinals.
Svenskeren comes in, goes out, realizes he may not want to be in that situation. Still, Gambit, they don't want to fight while the Baron and the Dragon buff are on. SK, however, feeling confident enough to push in. Man, that's a big cannon main.
Big Caitlyn
Freddy's
as well.
caught. He's still pretty big himself.
We've gone full late game now for Forgiven. 10 kills. See still the difference in items between the 280 carries.
Yeah, look at this. Not the massive... Oh, there's a fairly big wave now at the back of it. They just clear through that tower like a hot knife through some butter. Diamond is waiting for a flank potentially. Svenskeren gets his Banshee's Veil popped.
Diamond is coming from the side.
See if they can make this happen.
I think he's spotted. Yeah, SK sees him.
They're wary. They're wary to the Gambit tricks. Fairly decent wave pushing in the top for Gambit, but there is a big threat on the bottom right now. Forgiven throwing down a few more traps. There's the smoke screen. Try and blind him up. Diamond's going to be able to clear that ward away, but they know he's here. What will they do? Cabochard has an ace in the hole on him. In comes Freddy. Forget the tower. Edwards with the flayback, but it's going to be Forgiven going down. Cabochard coming up with it. Pinoy will fall as well as Svenskeren picks him off. The fight's going haywire, but SK, they might have just more in the tank. Fox just goes wild, and they manage to get a triple and even more to finish off the ace. A double kill coming in for Svenskeren. It's 41, almost 42 minutes into this game, Officio, and with the super minions in the middle, I think that's going to be all she wrote for Gambit Gaming.
Yeah, we can just see again these team fights here how hard it is. You have 2 big carries you have to kill unless you get them down instantly. SK Gaming wins the fight. They are still number 1 in Europe.
Absolutely number 1 in the European scene. SK Gaming prove it once again.
Solid performance all around. They keep playing around these dragons here. First time I've really seen them sacrifice towers just to get a second dragon, to get this snowball slowly rolling towards the 5 dragons. But Gambit showed that despite falling behind, they kept fighting, they kept looking for that one correct team fight, which was so hard to pull off.
They found a couple of them.
Either the Katarina or the Caitlyn is going to destroy you, and you got to lock down both almost at the same time. That is nearly impossible against the late game setup. SK Gaming had Freddy as well, and this Maokai just being massive, and then rated landing bubbles left and right on armor.
Oh yeah. It is so hard to outfight, especially when you get yourself in a deficit, this SK Gaming squad. Gambit, they show glimmers of how to do that. They're not immortal here, SK Gaming, but they are still the number 1 team in Europe.
They are, and they will be facing either H2, well, it's going to be H2K versus Copenhagen Wolves. As it looks right now, with Gambit losing this game, H2K is now locked in the 3rd spot So H2K and Copenhagen also play. The winner of that game will face SK Gaming in the semi-final.
Daunting task.
That's not going to be an easy one, though.
No, not at all.
It's not going to be an easy one. We're going to have to see how SK Gaming can do in a best out of 5 situation. We know how they like to play. Can they adapt on the fly if someone finds a counter to it? In these best out of 5s, that's going to be the big question. Obviously, SK Gaming has to buy now, so they got 2 weeks of practice. They get to scout either H2K and Copenhagen Wolves as well in these quarterfinals here, where they see a whole best out of 5. Entire playoff is going to be in the same patch. So there will be, you know, ways around.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt. I think, though, for Gambit Gaming, they played here with a real load of heart. I mean, they really, really wanted to get this one. You could tell they were not just going to roll over and let it happen. They never do that. No matter how bad it gets, Gambit Gaming always fight. They always find a way to make something you don't expect happen. That takeaway of the Dragon when they didn't have a smite and Svenska did. I mean, you chalk it up to the timing, but I mean, nobody in their right mind would do that. But Gambit does it, and they do it right.
They do it right. I mean, again, they keep trying. They keep looking for these fights. Problem was they got to that point where they were so far behind. That was obviously the risky one. But we got the bracket again, as always, after every single game. And, of course, with this win here, SK Gaming has now helped H2K. 3rd place, face Copenhagen Wolves. And if the Unicorns of Love win their game against H2K, funny enough, Gambit and them will tie. They're going to play after. Winner gets number 4. Loser gets number 5. They will still face each other in the quarterfinal, like we can see here, 4th and 5th seed, obviously, between those 2 teams.
Yeah.
So it is locked in. The quarterfinals are locked in, basically.
We've got
just a question of who gets, you know, the 1st seed and the 2nd seed between Gambit and Unicorns.
Kind of like we're filling in a puzzle very slowly. It's
very slow.
By the end of the day, we'll know.
And if Unicorns lose, there will only be one tiebreaker.
Ah.
And that's either going to be MOM and Giants for the promotion tournament or relegation, or Rocket versus Elements for number 7, the safe spot, or number 8, promotion tournament.
Yeah, so still have a few options on the board. We'll see what happens. Now, for a look at SK Gaming's 15th win of the split, we're going to go ahead and check in with Shocks and Stress over at the analyst desk.
Thank you. Always forgetting about Quick Shot, but he's still here. SK Gaming in this one, dotting the I's and I knew I would forget. Crossing the T's. In that one, another win and just firmly being even more firm in that number 1 spot for them. Although, again, in the early game, Gambit was able to not push them around a little bit, but control them.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I want to expand on something that Stress touched on at the beginning of the game. Leading up till this week, SK Gaming had an average of 1,000 gold lead at 20 minutes. Average. Sometimes higher, sometimes lower. In this week's games, these 2 matches, SK Gaming is down 1,000 gold. And it's just not the same controlling level that we've seen from him. Yes, SK are 15-3. They are the number 1 seed. They had a fantastic split. But we've seen them sort of plateau in power. Every other team seems to be climbing up towards SK, but they're just not close enough to topple them yet. So it does set us up for some very interesting playoff matches, considering these other teams are growing in skill and closing that gap.
The problem for the other teams, though, is post 20 minutes, you look at SK and it's business as usual for Given and Fox. Both of them, again, putting up double-digit kills and assists. And, you know, the strategy coming in from Gambit was the ban Graves or ban Lucian will take the Graves away. And then for Given just picks Caitlyn, because that's his 3rd down on the list. And he just gets through the rough period for Caitlyn, get him into a place in the game where he can carry, along with Fox, who... Let's talk about that Katarina pick just a little bit here. So much crowd control on the side of Gambit Gaming, and yet Fox goes unkilled for a good 25 minutes. That really shouldn't happen. Yeah,
absolutely. A vast difference with the Katarina that we saw yesterday. It could absolutely make it happen, and I'd like to bring one of the replays up on the screen as it shows what happens if you do not shut down a Katarina as he's about to jump in.
Yeah, so there's a few things that stands out in my mind. First of all, Pinoy uses absolutely everything just to try kill Svenska. If the rest of the team had been in better positions, I might have, liked that play. But the problem is now that as SK group up, all of that burst damage from Pinoy is just not available. Betsy and Diamond also engaging on the frontline tank. I actually felt for the majority of this game, Betsy didn't find the right flanking and opportunities. He didn't get under the squishies as often as he needed to. And you notice Fox just goes, I think it was a triple kill this particular engage. Managed to dodge that flay from Thresh. And for the entirety of the game, Fox wasn't punished because he made the right decisions. He was always jumping into the team fight at the right time. Freddy was just leading the charge every single engage. It just never felt like the rest of SK were making mistakes in team fights because they were really falling really well.
I'm glad you mentioned Freddy on Maokai. We've seen Cabochard yesterday going to that Maokai, and we may have made some jokes about it, but it is a solid pick. And if you see that they go for the first pick, Graves, and then give up Maokai and Nami, which I want to touch on in a second as well, even if it's not your preference, I don't really think that Diana worked in this one, and Maokai is such a solid pick.
This is an interesting week. We've seen first pick Annie's not particularly doing well, first pick Graves. Pinoy had a few good moments, but in a meta where you've got these mega tanks, I think first picking an AD carry that can do all right, but is not necessarily the best at dealing with them is risky.
Yep.
Because you're always going to have those options to run those heavy front lines, to run those really big bruisers. And it just didn't work out in Gambit's favor this particular match. I also think a little bit more pressure from Betsy and Cabochard on the flanks. Their vision game wasn't up to par, and they weren't getting in on the sides of SK because SK just ran headlong, and Gambit's like, well, we'll fight this way, why not?
Another thing that was crucial, as I just touched on, because we gave and rated a bit of flag before also at IEM because of his Annie play and always reverting back to that Lulu, he has stepped up for me in the last couple of weeks. That Nami is almost as good as mine, I would say. Just kidding. It's really, really good. And he just shows that he's mechanically adept on that champion, as we've seen last season.
Yeah, it was a great game from N-Rated this time around. And we know that, obviously, you mentioned the Lulu that he's been playing. I'm glad to see him back on the Nami, really just helping out Get Forgiven through that rough period that Caitlyn has. And a lot of the ultimates that came out from N-Rated were on point. They were exactly what Fox needed to set up the shun pose around the fight as well and protect Fox while he was in his ultimate. So there was just so much coming out from N-Rated, which was really good to see.
Yeah, and a second Katarina of the week. Second time we've seen Luden's Echo built second. The only reason I want to highlight that, we've heard so much talk about Luden's Echo. Deficio, I am looking at you, because he's been ranting about it all week long. And there's been a lot of discussion on social media, on Reddit, about if you don't build it first item, is it worth building? And it's just very interesting to see both Nukeduck and Fox prioritizing it after the Abyssal Scepter, which is something we weren't necessarily expecting coming into the week. Worked for Fox, not so much for Nukeduck yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see how that evolves. But SK Gaming, another win on the board, solidly in first place. And Gambit, we might see them a little later in the tiebreaker, or not at all. But coming up next, Meet Your Makers will take on Roccat as they try and avoid automatic relegation to the Challenger Series. We'll be here covering all the action in just 3.5.
Is the tiebreaker tomorrow or what?
No,
it's after the games today.
Yeah, after the games. If we lose, we play tiebreakers.
If we win, we play tiebreaker too.
No, we don't.
There's I promise you, if we lose, there's no tiebreaker. There's already one guaranteed tiebreaker.
Let's just win. It's easier if we win.
But he's not going to do anything to Cabochard, trying to get the resets. He will get some kills. Oh my goodness, a triple kill!
The kill of Katarina if she jumps in. We need to go back, we need to go back.
Nice. Back on, finish the game. Back on,
nice. Ace in the hole onto Diamond. Meanwhile, they're looking for Svenskar, and in comes Fox. They make the play. They got the hook on him, and he's going to get Asania's on. Edwards going down. Coming up with it. Pinoy will fall as well as Svenskar picks him off. The fight's going haywire, but SK, they might have just more in the tank. Fox just goes wild. And SK Gaming, absolutely #1